Hello students, once again I am back with all of you to explain a very interesting chapter of your physics section from the NCERT book, and that is force and laws of motion. Previously we had studied about what is motion, like what is uniform motion, non-uniform motion, speed, velocity, distance, displacement and all. Now we are moving one step ahead of motion. Now we will be studying the cause of motion in this chapter. In that we studied what is motion. Now we will be studying what causes the motion. So let us find out the answer for this question. What causes the motion? And I assure you that at the end of this video lecture, you will be very clear that what causes motion in our daily life. Force and laws of motion. The very first thing that I want to recall you is that we studied the two states of motion. An object can be in rest or can be in the state of motion. The motion can be uniform motion or non-uniform motion. Right? Now the very first thing that is to be discussed in the chapter is force. What is force? So a push or a pull is referred to as a force. Very simply, if we talk about in a very simple language, we can say that a push is a force or a pull is a force. Like in the figure, you can see a boy is pushing a trolley, or the girl is hitting the ball with a hockey stick. Someone is stretching a spring or compressing a ball. All these are pushing and pulling forces, and which are creating a change in the state of motion of an object. Like pushing a trolley, the trolley moves ahead. Hitting a ball, the ball moves ahead. Stretching a spring, the spring becomes stretched, and when we will be releasing this spring, the spring will restore its shape. Similarly with the rubber ball, compressing it, it is now flattened. If you will release the force over the ball will again come into its original shape. That means this is so very clear, guys, that force creates an impact on the object. किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट पे अगर फोर्स अप्लाई होता है तो वो उस पर एक इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करता है. Now the force can be either balanced or an unbalanced force, right? For example, let us see in figure 9.3 there is a wooden block placed and two persons X and Y are pulling it from both the sides. If the forces of X and Y both will be equal to each other, then the wooden block will not move anywhere. Right? It will not move anywhere. But in case one of the force, that is either X or Y, is applying a greater force with respect to Y or X, then what will happen? The person which will be applying the greater force, wooden block will be moving towards his side, either on the X side or on the Y side, from where there will be a greater force. That means until and unless an object will be acted upon by equal and opposite balanced forces, doesn't matter how many forces are there, right, left, up, down, the object will not move or it will not be having any impact. But if an unbalanced force will be acting on the object will be getting an acceleration into the direction of that particular force. Also, not every unbalanced force gives a motion. For example, you can see in figure A, a boy and a girl are pushing a wooden block. In figure B also they are pushing a wooden block, and in the figure C also they are pushing the wooden block, but it is only in the C figure that the wooden block has started moving. Why? Because in the previous cases they were not able to apply that force which was able to move that wooden block. That means there is a threshold force which is required to get the wooden block displaced from its position. एक minimum amount है force का जो कि चाहिए उस wooden block को displace करने के लिए. Let me tell you better that this force is the force that is required to overcome the frictional force and the inertia of that block. Frictional force is a force that acts between two surfaces that are in contact, like the floor and the wooden block. These are the two surfaces in contact with each other. Whenever a surface rolls or slides over another surface, then the surface beneath or the lower surface exerts a friction force on the surface in the opposite direction. Friction force always acts in the opposite direction of applied force, and therefore To displace any object from its position, we have to first of all apply that much of external force that it should be able to overcome that frictional force. Right? Now, we are very clear with this that unbalanced force is required to displace an object or to create an impact on the object, whether its position changes, its shape changes or size changes. The second thing that we have come to know is to displace an object from its position, we need to apply unlimited or a minimum amount of force that should be greater than frictional force. If your force, your external force is not equal to frictional force or is less than frictional force, you will not be able to move that object from its position. Now comes the next article, that is the first law of motion. Let me tell you bit, Isaac Newton, a great physicist of all time, has given us 3 laws of motion that define all the motion, all the types of motion in the universe till the date very accurately. Before discussing about Isaac Newton, let me tell you that Galileo Galilei was another physicist of his time. He was a mathematician as well, because he has developed very good interest in the mathematics field, and he performed certain experiments on the falling of objects or moving of objects down and up on inclined plane. Depending on the ideas of Galileo Galilei, Isaac Newton proposed 3 laws of motion that are now popular as Newton's law of motion. The very first law of motion, as you can see in the article 9.2, is the first law of motion, also referred to as the law of inertia. You can see over here in the second para on the screen, the statement of first law of inertia is given. That is, an object remains in a state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. In other words, all objects resist a change in their state of motion in a qualitative way. The tendency of undisturbed objects to stay at rest or to keep moving with the same velocity is called inertia. Inertia का मतलब है that if something is at rest, it will remain at rest until it is not applied by a force. That means until it is not pushed or pulled. Similarly, an object moving with uniform velocity or is in uniform motion along a straight line will not change its direction or will not increase or decrease its velocity unless it is not applied by a force. To increase velocity, you have to give a force in the direction of motion. To decrease the velocity, you have to give a force in the opposite direction of motion. That is by applying brakes. And to change direction, you will have to turn the steering. That means you are going to push the car in the other direction, either on the right side or on the left side. So beta, the inertia that shows a state of rest is the inertia of rest, that shows motion is inertia of motion, and that discusses about direction is the inertia of direction. And all these 3 inertia are only changeable, or all these 3 states, rest, motion and direction, are only changeable by application of an external unbalanced force. Alright. Now there are various experiments and various interesting phenomena of daily life that discuss the law of inertia in a very good way. I would suggest you to get a quick read of the chapter in a detailed way, get a read properly. Now comes the inertia and the mass. Let me tell you beta, any object has its inertia, whether it is in rest or in motion, and its inertia is completely dependent on its mass. An object having greater mass will be having greater of inertia, and an object having lower mass will be having lower of its inertia. That means a lighter, it is easy to change the state of rest or of uniform motion for a lighter object, whereas it is difficult for a heavier object to change its state of rest or of uniform motion by an external force. Now comes the second law of motion. The second law of motion states that the rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the unbalanced force in the direction of force. The mathematical formulation of second law of motion is seen over here. You have to keep the rate of change of momentum in proportion to the force, and then you will be replacing the proportionality sign by a constant k and giving k as the value 1. You will be having your formula F is equals to m. That means the second law of motion gives us a relationship between force, mass and acceleration produced in the body. The unit of force is actually Newton, but by the formula it can be calculated as kilogram meter per second square. Alright, now comes the third law of motion. Third law of motion states that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, or to every force there is an equal and opposite force. in the backward direction or in the opposite direction. On this basis, the recoil velocity of gun is a very good example. Whenever you fire a bullet from a gun, the gun recoils with a specific velocity, and that is because of third law of motion. The last very important article of this chapter is the conservation of momentum, according to which during a collision, always and always, the initial momentum of the system and the final momentum of the system remains same. Remember, I am talking about the system and not about a specific body. Like if two balls are moving, as shown in figure 9.14, ball A and B, and they suddenly collided with each other, and after that they started moving with their final velocities VA and VB. Then the initial momentum of the system, that is MAUA plus MBUB, will be equal to the final momentum of the complete system MBVB plus MAVA. Right? You can see from here, equation 9.7 represents MAUA plus MBUB equals to MAVA plus MBVB. That is the total momentum before the collision and after the collision remains conserved. Alright, this was all about the chapter. There is an important thing at the end of the chapter regarding conservation laws. All the conservation laws are fundamental laws in the physics, and they cannot be proved. They can just be verified or disproved by experiments. Like to explain law of conservation of momentum, we have various explanations or various verifications in our daily life, which can easily verify that the momentum remains conserved before and after a specific physical phenomenon like collision. Alright, I hope students, the chapter is pretty clear to you. Let me tell you, beta, after taking a reading of chapter, a quick revision can be taken out by the points given at the end of chapter, what you have learned. You can read out these points after the revision or before the exam time, so as you can sum up your chapter in a very short form within 2, 3 or 5 minutes. Because during the exam time it is not possible for every one of us to read the entire chapter again. But remember, this will only work when you have read the chapter earlier. अगर आपने पहले चैप्टर पढ़ लिया है तो एग्जाम टाइम में इन पॉइंट्स को रीड करके आप एक क्विक रिवीजन दे सकते हैं. But they will only be helpful to you when you have read your chapter. Okay, students, I hope the content was pretty clear to you. The content was good enough. The language was understood to everyone. Keep it up. Keep your studies going on with a very good pace. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.